enjoy liberation just have vastly different understandings of what liberation is for.
I haven't seen this much importance and attention.
The story itself is a really wonderful, really great setup.
Tractor beam has been engaged.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Tractor Beam Comics Reviews. That was a very excited hello, I gotta say. Here we are, your one-stop shop for in-depth commentary and discussion on this week's Star Wars comics, because we're all caught up, more or less. We'll get there. It is Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. It's the 24th week of comics in 2025. I'm Matthew, and that is Chris. Chris, how you doing out there in Underworld, New Jersey?
Well, yeah, I'm back at the home studio here after waiting in line for about 4.5 hours for this awesome piece of technology here, the Switch 2.
There we go.
I was literally playing a few minutes ago.
Nice.
Man, does this thing kick butt. This thing is a great piece of hardware. Very happy with my purchase, and it was worth waiting in line for 4.5 hours. So
nice.
There you go.
You even recorded a podcast, a full length comic podcast.
That's right. That's
from outside.
Right.
What I'm anticipating doing in a month and a half. Yeah, a month and a half's time outside San Diego, California, where I will be. If
probably not going to happen because the Wi-Fi, the amount of people, like 300,000 people in that area. Good luck on a podcast.
Although I won't be in, I probably won't. If I do get into preview night, then who knows? But if I don't get into preview night, then who knows? What I don't know. I'll find a spot that probably has better reception somewhere. Who knows? Anyway, that's a month and a half away. We got comics today, this week. We'll get the plugs out of the way. Before we do that, you can follow us primarily on Blue Sky at Ion Cannon. It's not Ion Cannon, Ion Cannon on Blue Sky. Also, Twitter, Instagram, and Threads at Ion Cannon Pod. And you can follow everything Chris is up to, youtube.com/StarRaptor, StarRapter. And of course, at StarRaptor on the Bird app on Twitter. You can check out everything he gets up to there. I'm guessing you're doing stuff about Twitch there, or not Twitch, Switch, not Twitch.
Yeah, I'm imminently going to be posting my, I guess, first impressions, but at this point I've had it in my hands for a week, so almost more like a review of the system itself. I've put it through its paces: multiplayer, online,
nice,
portable, handheld, in the bed, on the go, every possible permutation you can use this thing. So I'll have my final thoughts for the most part up later this week.
There we go. So
on youtube.com/star.
If you're curious about Nintendo Switch that rhymes with Twitch, check that out. There we go.
I don't know. Maybe it's possible you could stream the Twitch on that. I haven't checked.
There we go. Also, if audio is more your speed, right after we're done recording, I will throw this thing up onto Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So just search Tractor Beam Comics Reviews for the latest episode, and I will be sure to get it up as soon as possible tonight. So check that out. Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Last but not least, we are proudly part of the Star Wars Underworld Podcast Network here on the Star Wars Underworld YouTube channel. We have super chats, we have YouTube memberships. So if you chat with us, we'll get to it. If you super chat with us, we'll get to it immediately, is how that works. We're grateful for any support you can provide. Also, the Discord server on the Star Wars Underworld Discord server. Check out the link in the description below to just chat about Paper Cannon, about films, about different theories, of different ideas that you have about the galaxy far, far away, and this galaxy, and some other franchises, other media. A lot of Fortnite going on there. This coming Friday night, going to be watching Star Wars Visions in the chat there, in the kind of the voice chat there. So be sure to check that out. Joel, maybe if you're down in the comments, let us know if it's which season of Visions it is. I forget, but check that out in the link in the description down below. Star Wars Discord server, very much a fun time. All right, speaking of a fun time, speaking about the water being fine, there's a segue. We're gonna go back to the Clone Wars here. We're gonna talk. First off, we got 3 books: Bad Batch, and then a few others. There we go. Bad Batch Ghost Agents number 4. This is written by Michael Morrissey, art by Reese Hannigan and Elisabetta D'Amico, colors by Michael Attier, letters by Comicraft's Tyler Smith, friend of the show, and Bobby Bradford, and cover by Valeria Favoccia. The Stolen Republic intel sought by Clone Force 99 has switched hands. Now the data is closely guarded by none other than fearsome bounty hunter Aura Singh. In order to survive Aura's onslaught, Clone Force 99 must enlist an unsavory ally, a villain who would as soon stab them in the back as save them. That sounded like a Clone Wars crawl, like how the not the fortune cookies, but the Clone Wars crawls. Yeah, that was fun. And yeah, this was definitely another fun issue, and this whole run has been pretty fun. Just the adventures that the Bad Batch are able to go on. And here they've been kind of competing with Embo. Is that Embo? Yeah, I think it's Embo.
Mm-hmm.
They've been competing with him to find this list, and then of course Aura Singh and Asajj Ventress are there to stop them, but they're trapped underwater, and so and Embo's there too, and the Batch, they have to work together. And there's this: how much can you trust them? How much can you not turn your back on them? Because as soon as stabbing them in the back has saved them. And a few things to note here, they do run into Ventress, of course, and Aura Singh, and basically the Batch uses Embo as the diversion so they can get away, and that's pretty oddly ruthless of them.
Dark, yeah.
But it's the Clone Wars, whatever. I mean, we know they say he's a bounty hunter, he can handle himself, which who knows? I mean, I'm guessing we see Embo later on in the canon here, so he's probably going to be fine, but you never know. It was pretty dark. Also, I do got to say, I was a little confused by Wrecker. Maybe this is me not fully getting it, but confused at how smart he was. Maybe that's an odd thing to say, maybe a weird thing to say, but by season 3 of the Bad Batch show, which is set 4 years after this, then he's kind of more figured it out, more able to piece things together. But here at this point, he's kind of like, well, it starts the issue starts. Are we there yet? And I think Crosshair is all frustrated with him, which is a fun character moment there. We see the more character moment from Crosshair. Are we there? If you ask this one more time, I swear. But also, Wrecker is able to sort out what to do and how to sort things out. And I don't know, maybe he's more than just brawn. He's got some brain to him. But also, I thought he was afraid of heights. So that dragon bird floating thing, that was awesome. I will say, looked awesome. Reese Hannigan, Elisabetta, Michael did a great job getting the water and the feel and everything, and just almost like a kind of a How to Train Your Dragon moment of hopping off there. But I thought he was afraid of heights. So maybe he likes jumping onto big lizards there. So who knows? Anyway, they get away, and their plan, oddly enough, in the last issue of the comic, it's going to be, so Asajj has the list of Republic spies. So their plan, instead of getting the list, is, I guess, maybe it's the plan to capture Asajj, or at least to capture the list, is to go, because they have at least the first person on the list they've hacked in, is to go and at least protect that first spy there, the first ghost agent, and that's to trap Asajj and Aura Singh and maybe get the list. But yeah, it's almost it is a little odd that that's the last issue then, because that seems like an interesting kickoff to a whole set of arcs. So we have more ghost agents, right? But that's how Dark Horse wants to do it. That's how Star Wars wants to do it. Wants to do 5-issue arcs here, and which it's a credit to this comic, because it's too bad that it's ending, because I'd be good to see more. I'd be good to get more. There's this fun, it is what it is. It's not necessarily going to be all that deep, but for what it is, for an all ages comic involving the Bad Batch. It's been a fun ride involving some interesting twists and turns. So that's my take on Ghost Agents #4. Chris, I'll throw it to you. What do you think of this comic book?
Yeah, this is everything that an all ages comic should be. It's a lot of action adventure. That's the first thing I think of. I mean, this used to be called the the Star Wars adventure comics, right?
Yeah.
Especially with the hyperspace stories. And so we retain that tone, that feeling that's going to be for the younger audience, but people are just fans of Star Wars. To get that whiz bang action, a lot of fun there. Every week, every month we're broken records saying they capture the likenesses, both artistically as well as tone of the characters, each themselves, their own kind of humor and everything. And I just crack up because it's like the most accurate, like screen to comic thing I've seen in a while. When it comes to Star Wars, these Michael Moretz does a great job of capturing their voices. But everybody lettering and coloring and drawing, everything looks so freaking fantastic. And this is what I want to see more of. I hope like the Bad Batch just keeps getting his treatment once a year. It'd be nice to get a nice story. There's so many stories during the Clone Wars at this ripe time where there's hundreds and thousands of different battles. And the more we move on with Star Wars, the more we find out how complicated and pivotal this time period was. I know you guys talked about on the Ion Canon top eras of Star Wars or something the other day. I'm imagining
or historical moments.
I'm imagining the Clone Wars had to be on both of your lists, right? So there you go. I mean, very rich time period. But it was, the title of the issue is let's see, The Enemy of My Enemy. That's exactly what we get here. Embo is you have that classic. I like that classic Star Wars in peril moment, kind of like from the original A New Hope, where trash compactor scene, but except with water drowning, and it's just like, okay, either we're all gonna die, or somebody that knows how to get out of here is gonna help us. And just coming up with those plans on the fly is so fun. But yeah, a little bit ruthless, like you said, a little bit. But the reason why I'm okay with it is because there was pushback. I forget what character was pushing back on it, saying like, I think Crosshair was like, yeah, we don't like him. Just screw him. But, the others were just like, no, I mean, this guy is helping us and we should support him and blah, blah, blah. So I like the little bit of remorse there. I like the little bit of, this is really what we're doing here. But yeah, setting the trap there. But the water dragons, absolutely fun. Seeing Wrecker having a blast. I wrote in my notes. Just seeing him having a blast in this issue. Having fun, but yeah. And also another thing was I like the attention to detail when it comes to tech and using his goggles to translate. That's like one of the first things I recognize out of the Bad Batch in those Clone War episodes at the end of season 5 is him translating those aliens on that planet when Anakin was there. So it's cool that we're getting that back. That's one of his big positive things he adds to the team, is being able to translate what Embo is saying at that moment. So very vital moment, part of the team there.
And it's so seamless that I don't even recall, right? It's just it's his enhancement, almost using that technology to provide that translation. More Bad Batch stories means more tech, because in this era, at least, because he's gone. he's done. Rest in peace. But at least end of Bad Batch season 2, right? So yeah, definitely. Again, a credit to the mix here. I definitely want to see Michael Morrissey continue to write these characters. Again, I completely agree. They've nailed the voice for sure. And I agree. Yeah, the whole my little nitpick, I guess, notwithstanding, definitely literally a fun ride. You could see because his record. He has the kid at heart. He's definitely. I mean, he connects with Omega because he knows how to be a kid as well, and we see him here jumping on. It turns out to be the thing they need to do to get away, but yeah, to have that fun. So, hopefully, Dark Horse and Story Group and them know they have a good thing going here, because I want to see, yes, issue 5. I trust them to wrap it up neatly enough. but maybe open up more stories with the Bad Batch, because we definitely could use it. We could use it. And do you have any last thoughts on this one before we move on?
It's good that it's getting 5 issues. I'm looking ahead at the other comics and we're only getting 4 issues. So I know you wanted more out of the story, but I'm just happy we're getting 5, which is one more than everything else we're getting. So I dig that.
I mean, I should clarify, the reason I want more is because of the setup for issue 5 of going to meet one of these ghost agents. And I think it would have been cool to just go through all of them if they needed to, or a series of them, you know. It's a good, cool premise of shifting from one arc to the next, but instead it'll be a good conclusion. All right, Joel in the comment here, Visions season 1 is what they're gonna watch, and we're don't normally do this, but this is not how you get on by partly being on another podcast. But we're gonna bring Joel in to talk about the next 2 comics there, so I'll bring him in. Mr. Resident Sequelist, how's it going? Mr. Joel Davis from Underworld, Orange County, how's it going?
It's going pretty well. Hope you guys are doing good. And I also saw last week's podcast with you, Chris, getting your Switch. That was awesome. Hope you're enjoying the Switch.
Sometimes.
Oh yeah, very much so. Very much so. Can't get enough of it. But yeah, here we are talking Star Wars comics.
Talking Star Wars, we're gonna jump all the way into the end of the sequel trilogy. It's Rise of Skywalker number 5. Number 5 written by Jody Houser, art by Will Sliney, colors by Guru EFX, letters by VC's Travis Lanham. Cover, and I gotta bring this cover out by Phil Noto. Look at this. This is pretty cool. This is better, I gotta say, than that action figure movie poster. Because I mean, you get that it's drawn. So anyway, the last hope of the Resistance. Rey races to confront Palpatine, but can she stop him before the final order devastates the galaxy? Hope comes from unexpected places as the Resistance makes its last stand. Should also mention a film by J.J. Abrams. There we go. That's Rise of Skywalker number 5. Joel, our resident sequelist, I'm going to throw this to you. What do you think of this book?
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of re-echo what I talked about last time I talked about this comic. As a comic adaptation, it's definitely really good. I mean, certainly better than the Disney Plus ones, although that's pretty low bar. That's a low bar to cross, but definitely you can tell this one had a lot of effort put into it. Definitely on the higher echelons of comic adaptations for sure. So that was great. Obviously, there's some good moments in there. One splash page in particular, I'm sure we'll talk about. There's actually another one, not a splash page, but there's a page of seeing various points of Ben Solo's life as he dies, which I thought was really good.
That was really good.
As well, especially the one with Han and Leia holding him as a baby, and I'm just like, the kid takes after me.
Here we go.
And Leia like, shut up, Han. Very cute. That was great.
The Reylo moment.
Lando's speech kind of as the fleet kind of showed up. That was good. So all that to say, really good. I guess my disappointment or nitpick or whatever still comes from the fact that as an adaptation of Rise of Skywalker, the movie, I just like the book better. I think if anything, once again, the comic suffers from the thing the movie actually suffers from is it's too damn fast and it just goes and goes. If anything, I think it's almost shorter than the movie. I feel the movie actually had more moments to slow down than the comic. If that's hard to believe, because that Rise of Skywalker is a pretty fast-paced movie. Where the book had a lot more moments just to kind of slow down and like take it all in, and it really kind of feels like it ends very abruptly. It's like one moment's like just like Palpatine's defeated, then the next couple of pages like Rey's on Tatooine, Rey Skywalker, where it's like whereas like the book had a lot more moments just to kind of breathe and get Rey what the heck Rey was thinking the whole time when all that was going down. So I guess that's kind of my disappointment is that I still say if you're looking to sorry, I had to burp. I ate before this. What I was trying to say is if you're looking for like a good adaptation of Rise of Skywalker, read the book. But if you like comics, definitely would still recommend this just to have it. And it's definitely a better adaptation than a lot of those things we've gotten over the years. Like I would probably put this as like one below the Thrawn trilogy. That's not the Thrawn original 2017 novel adaptation.
Yeah.
Which I still think is the best adaptation they've
Also
ever
by Jody Houser.
Yeah. Jody Houser just knows what to do when it comes to adaptations.
Mhm.
I don't even blame her for Thrawn Alliances. That was just Marvel being weird about not finishing the story.
Never finished it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So definitely, this is in terms of like a comic adaptation. This is definitely
Mhm.
high in terms of an adaptation of Rise of Skywalker. I'm a little disappointed because I like the book better.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still quite enjoyed it overall, and beautiful art and all that good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate your perspective as someone who's read the novel. Again, I got to read that thing by Ray
You gotta
Carson.
read
I
that,
gotta read
man.
it.
You really do. Good stuff.
Especially because, I mean, you seeing what Jody Houser had to work with. I found this comic to be very janky. I was reading it. It's like you want these moments, especially with Palpatine saying these, rebellion ends now, whatever the line is, and then it just shifts into action.
Be the final word.
All that,
it's
story of Skywalker.
Yeah, which I mean, it also really brings out how over the top this script is. It's like, who talks now? Maybe okay, it's opera. It's like Attack of the Clones space opera.
It's Palpatine, to be fair.
It's Palpatine, but even then, it's just, oh man, just so much, too much. Just dial it back a little bit. But again, that's what Jody Houser had to work with, and again, that is the character. That's true. Yeah, I mean, Will Siney again, Joel, like you mentioned, adding a lot more with that moment with Ben. Yeah, I mean, now that we've seen a bit of his past already, adding this in here, and even with Jody Houser adding Lando's speech, is that also part of the novelization, or is that?
I don't think so. I think that's I have to remember. I forget what Lando's. I forget if Lando's speech is in the movie or not. I forget what he.
No, I don't think it is.
No,
it's not. So that was definitely new. And then even the little dialogue that Luke and Leia's Force Ghosts have.
Yep.
That was a little
Agent
nice.
Kloss, that was new.
So I mean, and that helped. Those two moments help move the flow along a bit better, but again, it was just janky. Right, and that speaks again to why maybe the novel has got to be the best version of this, because Ray Carson was able to take the time to work it through. I gotta say, my single favorite moment of this entire comic was this. Joel, you referred to this. This is got to be one of my favorite splash pages. Period. Like, come on, you got all the prequel Jedi. Joel, you were mentioning, maybe is it here? I got a little crossguard saber. Trying to find it. Where it is. Here it is. You guys can see this crossguard saber here. So maybe that's Elzar. As Joel, you were mentioning that. So I mean, that excites me, because I'd wondered how Will Siney would do that moment, right? Where hearing the voices, and I'll show it to you. She just hears the voices, right? Just the speech bubbles. And so I was a little disappointed. I was like, oh, I thought they'd do it like that YouTube video or whatever. And then I turned the page, and this is where we get it. Boom. And so this is Goosebumps moment. This was, and I gather maybe Jody had a note there too, but Will Siney and Guru EFX and them executing this to perfection. I mean, that I'm a sucker for bridging the prequels, bringing the prequel stuff in whenever. So, and I'm glad I have the hard copy to give this a look in all its glory. I almost want to get a print of this. It's beautiful. It's perfect. So, yeah. Overall, Joel, I'll agree with you. As an adaptation, I mean, it's an interesting example of what can be done, what needs to be done for a story that is itself, again, kind of janky. I'm talking about the whole issue, the whole run here of ways that it can add the visuals and the different media, the visual medium. Well, a different type of visual medium can add different moments. I mean, again, I think of the moment of Rey and Leia training is also an incredible moment there. Yeah, that what you can do to smooth out the story, or just to bring the story, bring the feeling of the story in a new way. and connecting with the characters in a new way. And so, we mentioned Will Sliney. This is a great achievement by him. Jodie, she didn't have much to work with. Again, this is the thing with this film. She had some things to work with, but yeah, it's hard to again compress a 2.5 hour film or whatever into these 120 pages of a comic book. So
I think the Tross novel is longer.
Yeah. Oh, of course, and also more words because that's the thing. It's a different medium. So I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I went through it. It's almost more educational than entertaining, if you know what I mean, in the sense of this is what an adaptation can be. This is what it struggles with. Those are the challenges of an adaptation. At least they go for it, unlike the Disney Plus things, which don't. Full stop. So glad I went for it. We'll see. I don't know what kind of tie-in materials they do for Starfighter. I know there's a question here about Starfighter, but what kind of tie-in materials they do for that, and what they do with the film. But yeah, it's an interesting book. I'll say that. This Rise of Skywalker number 5. Chris, I haven't heard from you yet. We haven't heard from you yet. What did you think of Rise of Skywalker number 5?
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, I've been highest on all these out of everybody I know. It seems like because that's just like I've been so burned by the Mandalorian and Ahsoka adaptations that hey, now it seems that there's that liberty to put in stuff like the Palpatine speech last week from Fortnite, or like I don't know if that was from Fortnite, maybe it was, but like the Lando one.
But still, it was something else. Anyway,
there was the speech from Fortnite, I think in the first or second issue that I believe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked Lando citing Leia as inspiration to get people's butts in gear. Be like, hey, look, she sacrificed a heck of a lot of her entire life. She's gone. Hopefully, this ignites our spark to all unite. Getting to see the Ghost. I mean, we didn't mention that, but the Ghost is front and center. Who's piloting a Ghost at this point? Right? Is it Hera? Is it her son? Who is it? Zeb on there? Like, there's so many ships.
I tried to look into the window. It's just black. Sorry. Yeah.
So you got that going on. But I mean, the whole thing is the whole moment of cutting out moments. The whole thing of cutting out moments. It's pretty egregious in this one. We don't even get to see Snap Wexley die. It's just like we see the reaction of Poe, and it's like, you're reacting to what exactly? If I've never watched the movie, how do I know how Snap Wexley died?
Right.
There's evidently going to be a person that picks up this comic that's never watched this movie. Like, that's what they're hoping for. So when you leave out moments like that, when you leave out moments like how they get the spy data in the first issue, and they go, win the war, that guy. We don't even get to see that moment at all in this entire comic book. So it has been a weird comic because whereas added really good context and scenes with Rose Tico and Maz Kanata and Leia and Agent Kloss, you get things like this where it just straight up has voids. We're like, oh, well, I've watched the movie, but they still sort of included this somehow. You got the big moment with the Force Ghost. Thank goodness they put that in there. That's the shining light, the shining example of why you pick up this comic. I know the other comics, it was like for Mando and Ahsoka pick them up for the covers to collect. This one, it's like, no, you actually want to get them for the interior artwork. Like, there's some really good liberties taken with the interior artwork to understand and see some more context from some of the characters' thoughts and what they might be thinking in their head, what they might imagine, things like that. It's just really good representation of how to actually adapt a movie and adding more to it through the artwork. So,
yeah, for sure. Will Sliney, kudos to you especially, and Guru EFX. But yeah, very brilliant work. All right, I think we got one more comic to go, unless you guys have any last thoughts on Rise of Skywalker number 5. All right, we have Ongoing number 2. I will get to that. This is written by Alex Segura, art and cover by Phil Noto, and letters by VC's Clayton Coles. Action and adventure continues in the post-Return of the Jedi era. What secret did the Nagai pilot tell Luke Skywalker? What is the crown of Verity? What tragedy awaits Luke on the winter planet of Gudrilim? Chris, I'll throw it to you. I haven't thrown it to you yet. What do you think of Star Wars something, whatever it's called, number 2?
Oh, this is pretty cool. This is what we can expect now, because now we're issue number 2. It's like, okay, what's the feeling of this comic month to month going to be like? We know those first issues are always chock full of very much ensemble, big moments. And now we're going to get to see more of like a laser focus on, usually I think every month it's going to be on one of the main 3 characters. It seems like we get a little bit of Leia and Mon, but this is definitely focused more on Luke, which is, we haven't seen Luke in a lot of stuff. So it's good that we're starting right off the bat with this character. We all want to know what he's doing after the Battle of Jakku. So it's really cool that this is tying in to a brand new element in Star Wars canon, the Nagai, which up until this moment have only been Legends characters to my knowledge. But we get
Legends of Legends, right?
Huh?
Nope. They like, as in, did they ever show up or anything, Joel?
Yeah, they showed up in the 80s Marvel series.
Okay, they did show up. Okay, so they're Legends. Okay. Sorry,
yeah.
Go ahead,
so I like how much we get a deep dive into this new alien culture, really getting to see, okay, these people, they're living on this one planet called Gadralam, and it's basically not their home planet. You have a violent type of subset of these people. Her name is Venk. But you have these other people that are following, like Jesrit, that are following Garlev. So we're already getting like these huge like nuggets of, okay, there's these 2 different sects of people within this alien structure. They're looking for their planet or something, is what I'm trying to get the context of. But we're also seeing Luke in peril. Luke deftly using his lightsaber, taking these guys out like nothing. But it goes back to Luke, at this time period, he's looking for these Jedi artifacts. He finds out about this crown of Verity, which will, in fact, it reminds me of kind of like Wonder Woman's like lasso of truth or something, because you wear this helmet and somebody cannot lie, but then when you're wearing the helmet, you can't lie yourself. So it's this very interesting thing, and this Jedi named Tobar Katine had it. And then apparently we find out at the end of this that the Zentark gang, aka the guys that are wearing all the mismatched Imperial gear that Han and Byler ran into, are somehow in league with Venk and then the guy. And it wouldn't strike me as too surprising if all these guys were connected with what's going on with Leia and that whole subset of space that is trying to defect from anything to do with the New Republic. So it's pretty cool to just see the actual weight of the story, because now Jesrit is dead, the character and the guy that Luke vowed to help. So we're going to see, like, okay, like he vowed to help her before she died. So he's kind of like, okay, he's going to have to try to intervene in this situation. Meanwhile, Leia doesn't know where he is. And it's like, oh, this has got to be a pretty big issue. If he just went off at will like that without Rin. So I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued by the storytelling told at this time period in Star Wars. Looking forward to see more.
This was a great example of Star Wars at its best in giving us a great character story and some really fun, fascinating lore. Both just, like you were mentioning, the different factions among the Nagai, and just getting that feel of this is a real society with this real conflict, and this backstory about how it seems to me like they're taken forcibly as slaves. It seems like that. And so Luke, in his character, wants to respond in compassion and wants to take action, kind of like his brother, right? Wants to jump in and take action and fix the situation. He's not really in over his head, but how much is he able to commit New Republic resources to that? That's another question. His own personal resources. And then, you have this crown of Verity, which my first thought is, okay, how does this connect to Leia and this whole diplomatic conflict, diplomatic crisis, if you will. Not so much a crisis, but trying to make sure that this part of space is at least friendly to the New Republic, if not wants to join it. And I can see this Crown of Verity being really I don't know if it's really beneficial, really impactful in a diplomatic negotiation, right? So I'm wondering if that's partly what's going on there. But yeah, definitely the way it ties things together, even seeing him just run off like that. You know, I mean, it reminds me of Empire Strikes Back, where he's on Dagobah there, and he's like, nope, I'm gonna go to Bespin, which we're going to next issue, by the way. We're going to Cloud City next issue with Lando. If you on the last page, it says, yeah, we're going there. Luke jumping off, going to Gadrilim because this character told him, which another interesting thing, it's just little whispers. We don't hear it. We don't read it in issue number 1. We kind of go back to issue number 1, and we see what this character told Luke. We're thinking he's hostile until we now recognize, okay, he helped him, give him this tip. And again, that there are these two different factions among these people. And yeah, there's this complexity there. And it's funny. I just finished watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So, this is a bit of a weird tangent here, but it's not, I promise. In one episode, Jake promises someone, like the mother of a victim. He's a cop, an NYPD cop. He promises a mother of a victim, that he's going to find justice. He's going to bring them to justice, and that's a bad move because, you can't guarantee you're actually going to solve the case. Can't guarantee you're going to actually figure it out. And so, I'm kind of concerned that Luke is actually, in a way, getting in over his head and going, not so much as a Jedi. Yeah, this is a year after Return of the Jedi. He can handle himself, but that he's willing to dive in on this is really, really interesting and really intriguing. So again, another really strong setup. This really feels very strongly, very clearly mapped out and very fluid from the Free Comic Book Day story right into issue number 1, right into issue number 2. I think issue 3, it's gonna be a little different focus because it's gonna be with Lando on Cloud City, but that's probably gonna pick up right where issue number 1 left off as well. So I think this is off to a great start. Again, both character story, and great seeing a Luke-centric character story. Like you said, we don't get much of that, and Luke character stories are going to lead to some fascinating lore, because that's what his character is doing. He's trying to discover, like Rey in The Last Jedi. At this point, he's still trying to discover his place in all this. What does it mean to be a Jedi who walks into the bar? He's recognizable as a Jedi. We don't get much Jedi around here. What does that mean in a galaxy where there's no Jedi Order? Where there's no Jedi Order to back him up. There's the respect for Jedi just is a distant memory. So really, really curious to see him go in to these perilous circumstances. So those are my thoughts. Joel, what do you think of ongoing number 2?
Yeah, I've enjoyed at least the first 2. Just I think they're very interesting setup. I think the latest story is the one I'm most interested in. Just this kind of quasi independent faction that's popped up after the fall of the Empire. That's really interesting. Yeah, it's great to see the guy again. Classic 80s Marvel, unknown regions, aliens. Those guys are cool to see. It was cool also a little callback to the Journal of Obi-Wan, which has been like a staple of Star Wars comics since the Jason Fry days. I remember Jason Aaron. Okay.
Yeah.
I remember like back in the old days we had like the flashbacks to Obi-Wan writing his journals. when in the book of when Boba Fett met Black Chrysanthemum and all that. Didn't they or did no when Obi-Wan fought Black Chrysanthemum back in the days.
Mhm.
I swear that was setting up for a movie that never happened.
Ah.
Who knows?
That's beside the point. But I'm glad they kept that. I think
Yeah.
this cool Jedi crown thing is interesting,
Mhm.
and it's cool seeing all the little Imperial remnant groups that are
Yeah.
just kind of like a bunch of stormtroopers all around and broken down ships and whatnot. They're clearly not the more organized remnants that we're seeing in the Mandoverse or what Thrawn's looking to do, or obviously what the First Order is going to become in a couple of decades. So that's interesting. A little
And this is
disappointed.
3-4 years before the Mandoverse too, to be fair.
Yeah.
That's true.
But,
Although who knows,
yeah.
maybe Gideon got his holdings on Navarro and he's
Sure.
just laying low. It's a big galaxy. What was I thinking? I'm a little disappointed that Han didn't show up that much, considering he's come back and like, where's the Han? You know,
Sure.
we've-
He's coming. He's coming.
that's true. Even next
But I
movie.
get that. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of curious what this arc is going to entail. But I like the first 2 issues quite a bit,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping to read them. The rest of it.
Knowing what I know, I think I know the answer to this question. But what about the Leia story? Are you most intrigued about?
I'm just intrigued what's going to happen to that faction, that kind of third party faction. Are they going to make peace? Are they going to go to war? You know, are they going to stay an independent faction? Like, what's going to be on with that? Because they look kind of cool. So, I think it's very interesting.
Politics. Sometimes. Yeah, definitely. Again, off to a great start. Chris, Joel, do you guys have any further thoughts on this one?
As far as this is concerned,
Yeah, this issue specifically.
Yeah. No, I'm just like you said. I'm really intrigued to know what's happening with Cloud City next time, because I know we learned a little bit about that. Was it in Aftermath or was it in?
It was in Aftermath. Yeah.
Okay, because then there's also the Han Solo Lando novel. It came out around the time Last Shot by Daniel Jose Older.
That doesn't have much to do with Bespin. That's set a year after this. But but I mean the Aftermath interludes. I mean, even there was a Charles, was it not Charles Soule? There was a Lando comic, Double or Nothing, that's set just before Empire Strikes Back. So then there's, and that's Lando having the labor issues that he mentions in Empire Strikes Back. Then the Aftermath interludes, and then of course the Battle of Jakku comic, which is there. It's in the Anowit sector. So this is another thing we'll look forward to is continuing on from that story, the legacy of why am I blanking on that name? Because great character, great villain, Matthew, of Battle of Jakku and of
Adelhard?
Yeah, that guy. The legacy of Adelhard. See what havoc he left behind in the Anowit sector there. All right, speaking of going forward with this comic book, you'll notice there's a little question mark at the bottom there. What's going on? What's happening? Star Wars New Republic. Joel, this is while you're here. Break it down for us. What's going on? Help us out here.
Yeah, so this was brought to my attention by a friend of our Star Wars Discord, historian of Barlith, who posted on the Discord the Star Wars Splash Page podcast. Yes. I go to get a lot of my Star Wars comics news.
Well, yeah, they do the forces work.
We're on Blue Sky. They said a couple of a day ago, actually, maybe it was today. No, it was yesterday. It started yesterday, I think. They said, "Well, this is intriguing. The original solicit for January 6th, Star Wars Volume 4, TPB."
Trade paperback.
Thank you. I'm going to forget all these. Collecting issues 1 through 6 has been removed for now, but over at Amazon and Target. It's now due out either in May or June, and it's going to collect the first 10 issues. So what's interesting is apparently they were going to originally collect the first 6 issues, but now it looks like they're going to collect the first 10. Barless said that was very interesting, but also a little bit shocking that it's going to be 10 instead of 6. And either Marvel is either just changing their format or something more deeper might be going on.
Mhm.
And also, they Flashback posted this that also missing from Penguin Random House, I got that one, are the initially solicited second printings of Star Wars #1. So notice cover with a gray background, and Ken Lashley's not a non-foil version of foil variant has been due out June 25th. Is still showing up as on order in Comic Hub for now.
So
Matt,
more of the splash page chiming in here. Yeah, likely a format change.
Oh.
That's one possibility.
Oh, we got the splash page. Nice.
Yeah, there we go.
So,
doing the person work anyway.
And then another thing from Star Wars Books and Comics was trade paperback has been retitled Star Wars: The New Republic. Somehow we're not confident the series will go past issue number 10 with a naming scheme like that and trade paperback release like that. So yeah, very strange things going on. First they change it from we looked at it. Well, it did say flagship. Never said ongoing, but that's weird semantics there. So Afra was mentioned as an ongoing.
Yeah.
I have to check now if Kylo was mentioned as an ongoing. I hope so.
I think Legacy of Vader, says ongoing.
Right.
But,
so we got that. We got the name change, and we got the first collection of 10.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what's going on, and it's weird. Maybe it's just a format change, or maybe darker, sinister. Or maybe more cynical. Battle of Jakku just did not hit well with most people, and they may not be happy with Segura, the writer.
Yeah,
and they'll just let him do his 10, and then they'll continue this era with somebody else.
Or I mean, this sounds like it's going like the changing the name. I mean, you call it Star Wars, you think, I mean, 75 issues or 50 issues. That's what you think, right? Ongoing. That's what ongoing comic. We don't know how long it's going to be. But calling it Star Wars New Republic, that sounds more like a maxi series. That sounds more like like Battle of Jakku was a maxi series. It's too bad. I don't entirely understand because again, like we just said, off to a great start, really intriguing, really really it's just on its own merits internally, really set up to be a really great journey for Luke, especially. And then and that's the thing is, yes, this is how comic stories work. This one crisis with this faction here, that could be resolved somehow, but then they can move on to the next thing, right? That continue the ongoing. This is how ongoing comics work, right? We're wondering what the Legacy of Vader thing is. So I think a few things. I mean, it also sort of feels, I don't fully know the history of this, but I know just before Revenge of the Sith came out, is that right? There was the Star Wars comic, and then they changed that name to Republic. And
I think that was started in the 90s, so that was going. I think Republic went on for years.
It did, but then they changed it or retroactively changed it, or the end of it was they changed the name to Republic, and then of course goes into Dark Times and whatnot. But yeah, it kind of feels like that they're capping it. I'm wondering a few things. Just me speculating. Again, like you said, Joel, maybe Battle of Jakku didn't sell as well as they thought. Maybe issue number 1, this one didn't sell as well as they thought, which again it's a little surprising because it's Luke, Han, and Leia, although I have some thoughts on that in a second. Maybe Alex Segura doesn't want to do it. Maybe that. Here's what I'm wondering. He wanted to, this is similar to films, the way all the film troubles that Star Wars has had. Maybe he wanted to take the characters in a direction that was starting to maybe encroach on what the streaming series were at least wanting to hold on to. And they said, no, we can't, you can't go there. So he felt maybe it would be too small of a story. And we don't want an ongoing comic to be too small of a story, right? We want it to be big. We want it to actually have weight, have stakes. Obviously there's the same limits as always with paper canon, but at what point do those limits really just make the story not worth telling? So that'll be unfortunate. But I mean, I say, it's disappointing because we're starting to enjoy this. The three of us love Battle of Jakku. I think that's safe to say. I think Alex did a great job there. We were excited and happy to see Star Wars Ongoing 2025. We don't know for sure what's happening, but this seems to be what's going on. That being said, Chris, remember last year we were speculating about what the next year would be, whatever. I almost wonder if this is maybe again being the massive prequelist that I am. If if this didn't sell as well, is there this fatigue with the big three? Oddly enough, even though we didn't get them in comics, we get them in so many other things, right? We have these movies for the last 50 years, right? We've gotten at least two of the big three during the Hansicle, and like you said, not too many Luke stories. We do want to see this. We do want to see what's going on, but again, this goes back to other projects, maybe higher profile, more lucrative projects involving a streaming service, or probably not a film, but something that they want to at least reserve it for. Does this bring back my idea of Phantom Menace to Attack of the Clones? I know that's kind of off the wall, but we
got Jedi Knights going, so
they have Jedi Knights going. That's true. That's before Phantom Menace, but like that, the actual Star Wars Ongoing will be Obi-Wan and Anakin after Phantom Menace, because there's an appetite for that, and that's what I was saying all last year, and we didn't get that. But again, this is me going out on a limb. I have no idea what's actually going to happen, but also,
I do think Segura said nothing, by the way, so I just want to make that.
He said nothing. I think I will reach out to I think Blackwood at Marvel, and just to see what's happening here. Matt has another thought here. Sensible to do in a chunks of issues. Kind of almost more of an anthology of, I guess, maybe referring to maybe an anthology of arcs of shorter runs, maybe, that are set in this era, but not necessarily building in the way an ongoing would. That seems to be what you're getting at here with chunks of issues.
I wouldn't
feel
mind
free
that.
to confirm that. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll hear something soon. But again, remember how much they delayed the realization of this. We're in the room in New York. Still nothing. Chris, you're in the room in Japan. Nothing. Or I guess it had already been announced. But you're in the room. We're in the room in New York, and still nothing. But yeah, that's it. Yeah, focus on minis. I mean, yeah, different character stories, sure. But yeah, I mean, that would, I mean, I'm thinking about it now. Again, I'm kind of going back and forth. I know, and I'm talking a lot here, but this would still potentially come together and feel like an ongoing in a way. I mean, because Charles' Ongoing did do that. It did jump around with different characters. There was a through line, but it was also, I mean, Charles' Ongoing were these three crossover events. So maybe it's kind of a shadow ongoing.
I mean, I'll say this, Matthew. Most people did not like the Vader comic, that ongoing Vader comic. Like, people end it. They wanted it done a while back.
I mean, I love it because it's Anakin Vader, but I mean, I think it could have been shorter.
I think you're the minority on that one. I knew a lot of people just put it out of his misery by the end. Charles, I feel like had a bit more.
Yeah.
A little more happier about. That's what the consensus I saw on a lot of big forums and sites.
Yeah, I mean, I do see the issue, Greg Pak's comic, but this, I'm saying with if it's this, but if it's still in this era, like Clone Wars, we consider a coherent series, even though it's just a series of short runs, if we want to put it that way. It's 4 issues.
Sometimes 5 or 6, depending if you
like. It was 5, but yeah. So that could be another possibility, that it's still in this era, almost like a shadow ongoing, without calling it that. Maybe Alex Segura, maybe bringing other authors, different things.
Kieran Gillen?
bring Kieran Gillen, but I mean, bring in other authors for different different runs, different short runs. Kind of what I mean, they sort of did that in 2015, right? They had the Jason Aaron ongoing, then they had that Leia comic that was fantastic, and they had a Chewie comic which is okay, and a Charles Soule's Lando comic, and
that was pretty good.
Those things also built up to something, two different things. So possible. Chris, we haven't heard from you yet on this one because I've been talking a lot. What was your kind of initial reaction, feeling to this, and where are you at with this now?
Well, if it's going the way we think it's going, I'm a bit disappointed to say the least, because I mean, I was waiting for this series for like 2-3 years now.
Mhm.
For them to pull the plug this soon in, it's like, wait, what's happening at Lucasfilm? Is this a Lucasfilm thing or is this a Marvel thing? You look at the evidence here, and you had, what was it, 6 issues originally. Then it's another 4 added on. So it's like, wait, are these 4 issues that are just trying to wrap up a story that was meant to be dozens of issues long? Like, why? How can a run be only 4 issues long in the first place? We never really see that from Marvel with ongoings. Second point is, if they really didn't like the direction that Alex Segura is going, why not just go the same way that 2015 was? Jason Aaron said his piece in like 30 issues. Did they change it to another writer? Then they changed it to another writer after that, and they kept continuing. You're not having to revamp issue 1. You could retroactively fix or change things in the future based on things you don't like now, based on the writing. So it's weird that they feel like they might have to just like basically end it and then do something else. You know, when it comes to a flagship, these are meant to stick around. And the thing I was most excited about the whole time is the amount of freedom that they have. Like, we're talking about a 4 or 5 year time period, but before we get to the Mandoverse stuff. So right now, this is the biggest kind of expansive time the comics have had to run and the freedom to deal with up until that point. I mean, look, we spent how long? Like 5 years in a 1 year of period of Star Wars between Empire and Return of the Jedi. Like we could go on for a decade if they wanted to. They could go up to issue like 350 probably, or something crazy like that. Yeah, 500, issue 500 in this time period if they wanted to. There's so much fertile ground. So that's where I'm getting concerned. Maybe I don't know if it's necessarily an Alex writing thing or something, but more or less like a call from Lucasfilm going, oh wait, maybe we jumped the shark on this. Maybe we're too hasty. Maybe we still have other movies or TV series we want to tell this time, or animation. Like, maybe we need to pump the brakes on this for another decade. And because it's really weird if it's called New Republic, that there's a lot of finality to that. Like, it's like, but it's kind of ridiculous because we know the New Republic is around for like 30 years. So the fact that they're going like a 2 month span of time, or however long this is going to be, called New Republic, like, it seems a little bit premature to be calling something with such a lofty title like that as your header. So I mean, those are my initial thoughts there. I don't know if you guys have anything to say about
that. I'll add, I know Marvel really likes revamping their number ones. It's always been a thing, even with their superhero stuff. So they always do stuff like that. So, like, I know about Marvel. In terms of like who's making the decision, I mean, I don't want to point fingers at anybody right now. I could see it being Marvel, because Marvel loves to cheapen out on things. They're cheaping out on their artists, they're cheaping out on their writers, they're cheaping out on their issues. So maybe they're just like, just keep cutting costs, people. Everything's a 10 now. I mean, that's always been Marvel. I mean, trust me, if you do a deep dive in Marvel, just a history of horror stories. So you know, I don't know if Lucasfilm is like that pernickety of like, wait, hold on, we got movies, things. If anything, I feel like it'd be opposite right now. It's like the only movie I can see that actually involves Luke, Han, and Leia at this moment is the Filoni film, and for what I heard, he might have that pretty in the bag, more or less, and everything else is like after Rise of Skywalker or 25,000 years beforehand. And with the TV shows, pretty much either just going on hiatus who knows? With the animation stuff just continuing to stay in that early dark times era, I'm like, I don't really think there is anything going on in that time period. I think you are clear. So it's kind of hard for me to really say it's Lucasfilm, and if I had to make a guess, I probably would blame Marvel before I blame Lucasfilm, because I know Marvel.
Yeah.
And Marvel can be it's a mess. It's always been a mess for decades. The comic side, not the movies, are a whole different thing.
Sure.
So that would be my guess.
I mean, there is also, I mean, we're talking about Penguin Random House now. We're not talking about Diamond. You know, the comic book industry is kind of volatile, kind of up in the air. You know, there's a question of does the medium, is the market the more have an appetite for 10-issue stories? Is that the sweet spot narratively for at least what we want now? I did kind of the counting, you know, that this 10-issue thing is supposed to come out May or June. Counting issue number 10 would come out September, probably around February. I don't think anything's coming out after that. There's no Star Wars Celebration for another year after that. So who knows? I'm sure we'll find out something.
Yeah, you got to go ahead. You got to go ahead and ask somebody at Lucasfilm when you get to San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, off the record. There we go. Or at Marvel, ask them too. It's curious. It's interesting, but we'll find out in due course eventually. Speaking of which, Dark Horse seems to be doing great. How's it going, Tyler? There we go. Great job on Bad Batch.
Can I just add one more thing?
Yeah, go for it.
We wrap up. I think for me the best case scenario right now is we get the 10 issues. That wraps up whatever little arc Alex Segura's got going. Then they get, and we will get an issue 11, and it's just a new writer and artist maybe. But that's like the hope. Otherwise, it's like they just do another maxi series that's like said after this, and it's like Star Wars, Remnant Shadow by Kieran Gillen.
That's Matt's thought here
and
too.
They bring in all the Andor characters because that's what he did last time.
Yeah, I mean, this experiment has already happened, right? They've done the Battle of Jakku. At one point, I was like, "Oh, is this going to be the ongoing?" Because it feels big, it feels impactful. They have a clear direction where they're going. When they have a space of like 10 issues, they could go, okay, it's all killer, no filler. You're not going to necessarily have these issues that a lot of the times we felt were like, or arcs that were just kind of slow and boring. It's like, okay, we're going from point A to point B. How are we going to fill this time in with 10 issues? We don't have time to mess around. And like you were saying, Joel, it's just like they want to get those number ones. They want to get those number one issues
to
get out there. To get out there. So yeah, maybe that's their new initiative, is like, instead of doing like 5-issue trade paperbacks, maybe they're just deciding to do the way the comics are going to run. These arcs are going to try to make in 10 issues rather than 5 issues or something like that, to just or 5 issues that are going to 5-issue arcs that are going to be comprised in a single 10 issue kind of paperback thing. But there's shifting going on.
Yeah, I'm just saying Matt's idea there. So I think either that, or I mean, again, my pipe dream of set it before Phantom Menace or after Phantom Menace. But anyway, there go, Joe.
I guess one more thing. Sorry, I always have so many thoughts. Do you guys think Legacy Vader gets past 10?
It better.
I hope so. I guess we'll have to see where it ends at 10, but I hope so too, just because. Yeah. I mean, that's my pipe dream. Is I want the sequel era, something. I want something sequel era with Rey, Finn, and Poe in comic form.
Although that one is only set within a year, we know that. So.
Hey, 10, 10. That's good. That's good.
Or 12 once a month in real time. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that'd be fun. Sure, why not? Do 12.
Like Charles knows in his Discord, he's like, I know how long this comic's going to be. He doesn't going to tell us, but
I'll say this. I'll say that then, if that's the case. Even if it's 10, it does sound like Soul got a lot more of an idea of what he wants. So if he wants to do just 10 and that was the plan all along, sucks, but at least he's going out on his own terms.
Yeah, that's true.
And I'll also just say, if this was the plan, and this is what Segura was going to do from the start.
Yeah.
Apart from my complaint about bad marketing, at least he goes out on his own terms. So I gotta respect that. I'll respect that at least.
Yeah. Again, if that is his plan, that's true. Yeah. So the end of the day, we don't know. This is a bunch of chatting about what we might want, what we think, how we feel. Yeah, we have no idea. I mean, it's a good exercise to speculate. You know, what characters do we think we would get? Say we do get this anthology idea, Matt's anthology idea here, because we know Afra starting next week, she's getting her own ongoing, or whatever it's called, whatever word they used. Chelly's getting her own ongoing again, so that's good. Who else? Who else do we focus on? I mean, maybe these 10 issues.
Oh yeah, Rogue
Wedge.
Squadron. Let's get a freaking Rogue Squadron centered story. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I almost wondered, the way this, I almost called it ongoing, the way this Alex Segura book is structured, right? We talked about how this issue, Chris, you mentioned this issue is Luke, next issue is probably Lando, issue that maybe Han, Byler, whatever. I thought you kind of would make sense to say this arc is Luke, and this arc is Lando, and this arc is Leia, and this arc is whoever. Another character whose name starts with L. Lobot. That'll be good. There we go. Sorry, random joke. But yeah, I guess, I mean, again, that's it was weird. Like in 2015, though, again, they kind of did that, but there was also the Jason Aaron ongoing, where the characters kind of weaved in and out of their own thing that Charles Soule picked up wonderfully at the end of his ongoing. So picked up the Leia comic especially. So again, we don't know, but hopefully we find out soon enough. That's another thing. Marvel, Lucasfilm, don't leave us in the lurch again like this. That was a bad move. If you're listening, I'm a bit of I work in a marketing department in my day job. Clear communication builds trust. So Marvel, Lucasfilm, tell us what's going on.
Yeah,
we're going to keep grumbling every Wednesday night here on YouTube.
It's so funny how they tried so sneakily to do this, and somebody caught on immediately. They're just like, "Yeah, we see what you're doing there. We see what you're doing now. You can't hide this."
Yeah, like they. I mean, did even the secrecy about this last year that couldn't have helped the sales, right? How we spent the whole year being like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's happening? And they didn't tell us until it was like a one article on StarWars.com. So that couldn't have helped sales there if they need to make a big splash. So yeah, I mean, I don't know what kind of the presence in San Diego is going to be like. I will find out. I know MCU isn't going to be there, so that leaves some room. I hope I can get in on the Wednesday night and the Saturday. But I don't know.
When is San Diego Comic? When is it?
23rd, July 23rd to 28th.
Oh, very soon. Interesting.
Yeah, a month and a half. So, hopefully I get some info. I'll even offer to be like, I won't reveal it publicly just yet until you let me, but please tell me what's going on. So, yeah, that's the thing. Again, clear communication builds trust.
Yeah.
Learn this lesson, Lucasfilm.
Yes.
Learn this lesson, Marvel. It's church leadership 101, PR 101, HR 101. Not HR. Yeah, maybe HR too. Marketing 101. There we go.
All right.
Anyways, any last thoughts on this whatever news thing this is? Whatever.
Watch this all be a glitch, the system. And it just be like, oh, sorry, we accidentally updated it. We bet if she's 1 through 6.
Watch by tomorrow. Alex Segura says something that just completely debunks all of this.
Yeah. Watch it be. They're a publishing company. Watch them make a typo. Watch it be a typo.
I've seen stupider from big companies.
Oh,
so.
for sure. Of course.
Trust me. But yeah.
Fun
Yeah, well,
times. Is that good?
No, I just like, I just wanted to bring this up to everybody's attention. It's like, what's going on here? Watch
Well,
me
it's worth
be
talking about.
panicky. Watch me be panicky about it.
It's worth talking about, right? I get news, speculation, dumpster fire. I don't know. Down there. All right. One thing we do know is coming out next week is Chelly, like I said, but we're taking a break. Actually, now that I have this on, this is cool. I'm excited for this. This is the only book that's coming out. I had family commitments that got canceled. That's fine, but we're gonna take a break anyway. But yeah, definitely check it out. We're looking forward to diving into that the next week. Chaos Agent. So yet again, we're gonna move our schedule around from the release schedule, but looking forward to I'm really curious what Chaos Agent, but chaotic good is her alignment now. So what's she up to? Chris, what are you looking forward to with this book?
Well, we got more Luke Skywalker.
True.
Yeah.
There he is.
So,
It's an ongoing comic. Yeah.
There we go. I'm looking forward to seeing how they interlace, how they connect. But it's cool to see Dr. Aphra confirmed. Well, we already knew she was around after Return of the Jedi from the Battle of Jakku Maxi series, but just to see what she might be doing in a New Republic galaxy, we'll say. Not dealing with the Empire anymore. How's she going to be acting around New Republic officials? I'm curious about that.
I think she's going to be a Chaos Agent.
Yeah.
But
I'm
also,
excited
yeah,
for
that's
this
a good
one
point.
too.
Yeah, you are. That's good. What was this? I mean, reminder that Luke is in this one. Maybe it might not line up at all, and it might just be this other story, and that might be confusing to people. And I mean, they did that. I mean, the Leia, again, I bring this up a lot. I remember that. So 2015, I was relatively new to comics back then. And so I didn't quite understand that characters, stories, and comics that release a week after each other may not even line up at all. So I noticed that Leia is in Jason Aaron's ongoing #1, and then she has her own comic, and the story's different and all that. So it might not be. I might not have anything to do with it at all, but Luke's involvement here, but it might. I don't know. So
that's what a timeline's essential guide is for.
That is true. That is true. Super Joy. I forgot who's writing this. I completely forgot who's writing this comic book. I should know these things.
It's a new writer to Star Wars, so for us, it's hard to know these things.
Right.
We're not familiar with this person.
Yeah, I think I remember going into that. Yes, Wanding Communication. Yeah, thanks, Tyler. That's true. Cherish Chen and Gabriel Guzman. Okay, that's right. Yeah, should be good. Definitely get definitely get that. So yeah, well, we're taking a break. I'm gonna probably go do Taylor Swift trivia at a pub. But other than that, yeah, enjoy that. Do pick this comic book up and pick up the comic books that we talked about today. Help the sales. Sales also means more stories. That's just how the business works. So please do that. Chris, Joel, thanks again. As always, Joel, thanks for jumping in last minute here just to chat about all this stuff. Where can they find you on the internet?
Find me at GID20234 on Blue Sky, GID20234 on Blue Sky. You can also find me on the Star Wars Underworld Discord, where I have pinged you guys. I pinged Just Read the Borrows. So thank you again. If you do listen to this, for alerting us to the news, you're very in tuned.
Yes. And all the other insights.
Yes,
really insightful.
Too. Yes, thank you so much. And can I talk about what's happening Monday?
Yeah, of course.
So this Monday on the Ion Cannon, Matthew sadly won't be joining us. I will instead be getting his roommate, the other Canadian guy.
It'll look like this.
Yeah, it's gonna look like that. And we will be having a special book review of the one, the only original Thrawn trilogy, 1991, Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command. So be on the lookout for that. I'm so excited.
There you go. Guess I'm mailing and phoning it in here, guys. Next week. Dom will slot in the good old Legends look back of the Thrawn trilogy, long awaited. look back on the Iron Cannon podcast. Chris, tell us, thanks again for jumping in. We're not for jumping in, for continuing on this tractor beam that we are doing. This is our 86th issue that we've done.
There we go.
There we go. We're pushing 100, almost pushing 100. Where can they find you on the internet?
Yeah, you can find me online here at I'll say twitter.com/StarRaptor for the latest goings on around gaming and Star Wars and more. YouTube.com/StarRaptor for all my video content, Star Wars comic reviews and whatnot. And the thing I'm most looking forward to next week is not a comic, but it is, and not the end, but basically the end of the High Republic for the most part. For we're not going to be on here, but you can understand what I'm going to be doing is speed reading through that book.
Yeah.
I'm going to be treating it like Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, man. I'm going to be probably losing sleep just trying to read that thing and get everything, because I've seen the early reviews and everybody's praising this thing like it is one of the best Star Wars books or something. Like I've seen some early reviews and it is looking really good. So I'll most likely just be eating, sleeping, and reading Trials of the Jedi next week. So
I mean, I suspect we'll have reason to talk about what happens in that novel on Tractor Beam. just putting that out there, because we got the finale comic by Kevin Scott coming in, so we will assume spoilers for Trials of the Jedi when we read that one. Also, possibly
the end of the beginning, people. It's the
end of the beginning. That's article. What an article! An interview. StarWars.com there. Yeah, Trials of the Jedi next week. That's right. The end of the end, the beginning of the end, whatever it is, end of the beginning. There it is. You can find me normally you can find me on the Iron Cannon podcast, but this past Monday we took a break. We both took a break, and then this next week I'm taking a break. You can find me on Instagram at MNEUG1138. And also, that's also Threads and Blue Sky. Find me on Twitter at NEUG485. Also on Instagram, I'm picking this back up, beaches.foodie. Got some good birria tacos on there right now, so check that out. Just in the neighborhood, and just what food is like in Toronto. It's great. If you ever want to eat in Toronto, it's great. Check that out as well. And then back here again, Tractor Beam Comics reviews in 2 weeks' time, as well as the Iron Cannon podcast in 2 weeks' time. Joel, we have to figure out what we're talking about. There we go.
I got some ideas.
But we got some ideas. We will probably we're going to continue this discussion on what's going on with comics and Star Wars comics. Who knows? We're going to keep talking about it until we get some news, and then we're going to talk about the news. We're going to talk about the reveal. But we do know, again, Chaos Agent #1. We're taking a break, so we will see you in 2 weeks' time. But until then, happy reading.